The theme is that we need to defend our civilization or the civilization may really die. This is not a hyperbole. Arnold Toynbee, famous British historian, he studied 26 civilizations through history, going back many centuries. And out of those 26, only 6 or 7 civilizations survive today. And of course, Hinduism is among those 6 and 7. And that is wonderful. We all take pride in that. In fact, when I was in college, we used to sing this Tarana Hindi. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. Naan misre Roma, sab mit gaye jahan se, ab tak magar hai baaki, naamo nishan hamara. Kuch baat hai ki hasti, mitti nahi hamari, sadiyon raha hai dushman, daure jahan hamara. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हम बुलबुले हैं इसकी गुलस्तान हमारा. I'm sure you've heard of that and you take pride in that. But the author of this, Muhammad Iqbal, he was a turncoat. He wrote this famous Hindi Tarana, but later on he became a convert to the idea of Pakistan. He was one of the leading author of Pakistan. And after penning this famous Tarana, in which we take so much pride, he wrote another Tarana called Tarana-e-Milli. Milli is Ummah, is a Muslim, and that goes something like this. Chino Arab Hamara, Hindustan Hamara, Muslim hai ham Watan hai, Sara Jahan Hamara. China is ours, Arabia is ours, of course, Hindustan is our Muslim hai hum watan hai, sara jahan hamara. We are Muslim, the whole world belongs to us. Tawheed ki amanat सीनों में है हमारे, आसान नहीं मिटाना दामों निशान हमारा. Tawheed is the unity of God, the oneness of God. That's what we are committed to, and you cannot eradicate our influence. So, you see, the idea of Hindu civilization, Indian civilization, we really cannot take it for granted. Even though the Indian civilization continues, survives, but it's attenuated, it's diminished. Afghanistan was part of India. Central Asian countries were part of India. Of course, Pakistan and Bangladesh are part of India. So over the centuries, India has been, the Hindu civilization has been diminished. It has been reduced in size. And we cannot, after listening to Rajiv's talk, we cannot take the survivability or the unity of India for granted. Now, we have a pretty good track record on the one hand, historically. I understand I have about 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to develop this, about 3 more themes to bring them. We have a pretty good record. I want to take you about 300 years ago to 1699. When Aurangzeb ruled tyrannically the land, and Hindus were being massacred. There are stories, you're well familiar with that, so I don't need to go into the record except to say that it was truly a tyrannical rule. And we have the rise of Guru Gobind Singh, who sent a call for Hindus to make the sacrifice. And 5 people stood up who were willing to give their life. And these 5 people are called Panch Pyara in Punjabi, in Hindi. At that time, this division between Hindu and Sikh was not there. These were the Hindus who were willing to make a sacrifice. This division between Hindus and Sikhs came later on. It's also part of the British creation. As you know, some groups of people were declared as martial races in India. And Sikhs were one of the groups that were declared by the British to be martial races. So they will be recruited in the army in larger numbers. And Ram Lal would be recruited, but he will come out as Ram Singh. Banta Mal would be recruited and will come out as Banta Singh. So quite a bit of this division that you see between Hindus and Sikhs goes back to some of, not all of it, but some of the policies of the British that they pursued after the mutiny or the First War of Independence or whatever we wish to call. So, the beginning of the collapse of the Mughal Empire started. Also, I want to tell you about Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. The first defeat of the Mughal army occurred in 1660. I would say that is the unraveling of the imperial Mughal rule in India. And these things have global consequences. You know, the defeat in India of the Islamic Empire has repercussions, perhaps not directly, perhaps some cosmically, I don't know. 23 years later, in 1683, the Turkish army was defeated in Vienna. They laid a siege to Vienna in Europe. They couldn't succeed in the end. They withdrew. They were defeated and they withdrew. Would you know the date when the Turks were defeated in Europe in 1683? Anybody knows the date? 9/11. 9/11/1683, the Turkish army was defeated and they turned back and fled. So the Europeans may have forgotten that history. So this 9/11 date, I don't think it's accidentally chosen by radical Islam. I think they're well aware of their history, the history of the defeat, and they want to repeat that as a story of success rather than a defeat. So we have good record historically that among the many civilizations, after all, Indian civilization still survives. But today, the battle, where in the olden days, you could fight with the weapons, with the arm. Today, like Rajiv just told, it's more a clash of civilizations. It's really a battle of ideas. And we need to join the battle at that level, at the battle of the ideas. Napoleon said that the pen is mightier than the sword. Okay, or one negative book, one negative newspaper is more to be feared than 10,000 soldiers. So we need to take the battle at the level of the ideas. NRIs have always played an important role. Would you know Mahatma Gandhi was an NRI? He spent 22 years in South Africa from 1893 to 1915. And prior to that, he was a student in England for 3 to 4 years. So for 25 years, Mahatma Gandhi was non-resident Indian. Another example would be, and many examples would be Sri Aurobindo. Studied all his formative years in England. And when he went back to India in 1892, he didn't even speak fluently any of the Indian languages. And the contribution that Sri Aurobindo made, not only to the freedom fight in India, but also to the development and the study of Sanatana Dharma, the development of integral yoga. And in my town, where I come from, Pensacola, we have a very active Sri Aurobindo study group. We meet once a week, and the leader of that group is an American, and not an Indian, an American. It's a small group, but truly, truly dedicated. That's only just one of the few groups that exist over there. So NRIs have a great role to play. Now, if I can have 2 or 3 more minutes, the number of the NRIs in this country, I'm guessing now, is between 3 to 4 million. In 1990, we were 800,000. In the census of 2000, that doubled to 1.7 million. And I've not seen the number for 2010 census. Perhaps one of you knows the real number, but I would guess it to be between 3 and 4 million. Now you might say that's a small number, but not really. Would you know that the Jewish population in this country, would anybody guess the size of the Jewish population?
860.
No, it's 5 million. The total size of the Jewish population is 5 million. And you know how influential Jewish lobby is. Anytime you want to talk about the influence of lobbies, the Jewish lobby's name is always invoked. So 3 to 4 million people can have a lot of influence. And it's true, the Jewish are a affluent community, they control some businesses. But Indians take pride that we are the richest community. Our per capita income is larger than any other minority. So we certainly can compete. You know, even though we are 3 or 4 million in number, this is not a small number. We are very large in terms of the resources that we command. But unfortunately, one more minute, our commitment is not there. There are problems, and some of them that have been outlined here. Our temples, our discussing with Swamiji, our pandits, they know how to do the ritual, they know how to do the puja, but they cannot teach. Our children, we propel them to go to schools of medicine, lucrative careers. We propel our children to join either medicine or law or accountancy. Very few of our bright children go either to the social sciences or the humanities. And we need to do that. We need to get our bright students to study comparative religion and social sciences and the humanities. And then Rajiv has talked about the negative. One more minute. The negative forces that are here. But we also have some kindred groups. We also have some allies here. And I just want to draw your attention to the allies that we have. I come from Pensacola, a small community. I'm a member of about 6 different locally grown, ground-up groups. And these are like Shri Aurobindo group that I talked about. There's a Bhakti Club, which meets all Americans, which meets every Friday. There's a Gnostic Center. There is the Hare Krishna group. There's a Theosophy group. But unfortunately, with the exception of one Dr. Goel, who provided rooms because he has a shopping center and one of the rooms was not rented, he provided that. No other Indians would ever participate. And this is, there are lots of people are into vegetarianism. 30% of the Americans believe in reincarnation. Okay, about 1/3 of them want their bodies to be cremated. 10 to 20% of the people in America say they are spiritual, they are not religious. So what I'm trying to say is that there are some groups here. Jews have their alliances with the right-wing neocons and right-wing evangelicals. Muslims have their alliances, their allies in left-wing intellectual establishment, academics and all that, as it has been pointed out. But we also have some kindred groups that unfortunately we have not inculcated those. So in a nutshell, we have resources, but the Indian community needs to come together. And we can do this if the commitment is there. Perhaps the star will do that. Thank you.